Hey guys, it's Brant, and I'm back with video number 3 in the series of 5 videos for Typo Negative's Slow, Deep, and Hard album. And I had some time on this as a Saturday afternoon. It's a lazy Saturday afternoon, and I had something that I usually don't have, and that's a few minutes of time to sit down and make some more videos. And so I wanted to get through a large part of this album today. So here we are. We're at track number 3. And track number 3 on the album, and I've already done the first 2 tracks, so you can go back and watch those videos if you haven't seen them. I give a little bit more history about the album and about the songs leading up to, about the band leading up to this album. So that's all in that first video if you want to go back and check that out. So I'm going to get into the third track of the album, which is called Xero Tolerance, and Xero Tolerance is also broken up into sections. Into 3 sections, as a matter of fact. And so we'll talk about that. And I'm going to talk about my beers again because I've been trying out some beers. I bought some this afternoon. And I like craft beers and stuff. And so I've been trying some ones I haven't tried. I bought up 6, and I've been letting my wife pick them out for me before I come in here and record. And this one is from, I've never had this beer before, and I've never even heard of this brewery. It's New Sarum Salisbury Brewing Company. And it says it's handcrafted in Salisbury, North Carolina, which is in my neck of the woods. It's 5.5% alcohol by volume. And there it is on the back. And I'm going to read this here, and I'm going to have to look over my glasses because I am blind. And this is on yellow, too, so I don't even know if I can read this. It's called Blonde with Grits, and it sounds like it's made with grits. It says it's made with grits and grains, incorporated ingredients into this creation. The local grits and grain from native North Carolina establishments. It's got the farms that provide this beer its distinctive, easy to drink flavor that will keep you drinking all day long. So we'll see. It looks like it's RB Malt and Micknick Farm is who supplies. This is made in Salisbury. And I've got a couple more here. I figured I'd start with the blonde. I've got a red, I believe, and a dark porter, which I'm fans of all 3. So we're going to pop it open here. And we're going to talk about Xero Tolerance. So I'm going to pour it here. That's pretty. Xero Tolerance is the 3rd track on the Slow, Deep, and Hard album. It runs 7 minutes and 47 seconds. It's written by Peter Steele. All these tracks are written by Peter Steele. I think I didn't mention that in the last video. But all these tracks are written by Peter, and they're all played by the same people. Peter played bass and sang. Josh Silver played keyboards, sound effects. Kenny Hickey played guitar, sang, and Sal Abruscato. I always get his name mixed up. And I hate if I'm butchering it. I really do. Dude, that's got a nice head on it. Look at that. That's pretty. So I'm going to let that head get down a little bit first. But this is broken up into 3 parts. The first part is called Type A Personality Disorder. The second part is called Kill You Tonight. And the third part's kind of an instrumental part at the very end called Love You to Death, which I think is interesting because Typo ends up having a song called Love You to Death. And on the October Rust album, it will come a few years later. Many consider it their masterpiece. But it's broken into 3 parts. It's a very violent song in which Peter depicts himself or somebody, because he says I in it a lot, depicts himself killing a woman who cheated on him and her lover. And the song's full of hatred, obsession, violence. But now, having said that, it's probably one of my favorite songs on the album. I love how it goes from slow to fast, back to slow. The time changes, the tempo changes, and lyrics like "I'll kill you tonight" and "I've got a pickaxe in the trunk of my car. I'll put it on the grinder to get it real sharp. There's an ugly green monster in my head that won't leave me alone until you're dead." They stirred controversy around the band as much as the Untermunch did. So this is an amazing song, and each part of the song is a violent, crazy joyride that I love to ride along on. So I'm going to take a drink of this beer, and then we're going to get started on this song, which I'm ecstatic about because, like I said, I love Xero Tolerance, and this song is very much reworked and put on the Slow, Deep, and Hard album that would follow. This song is very much reworked and put on the Slow, Deep, and Hard album that would follow. And they kind of go into an interlude and break into it and go into the Hey Pete, Jimi Hendrix cover of Hey Joe, which I really like the way they do that. And they use, like I said, they don't use Der Untermunch on that album, but they do use a lot of that chord progressions and stuff from it. But like I said, we'll talk about that when we get to Origin of the Feces, which if I said that they rework it for Slow, Deep, and Hard, I'm sorry. I don't remember. I've had a beer already. But they do rework it for rework it for Slow, Deep, and Hard. So, shall we? Starts off with the grinder on the axe on the grinder. And then he says, "For me, my love," and then starts laughing. I love this lick right here. This riff. I love this all under this. You hear them, they do that a lot in this song, and you hear them sometimes, they'll throw that lick and some of the licks from the Undermunch in, everywhere. And then they kick it in. Like I said, he's talking about already hatred obsessing me, anger possessing me, anger burning me, anger turning me into someone I don't know. And I love this right here. I like how the music does. That chromatic. And I love the drums in this song. Man, I'm a drummer and I love this song. Rage that's shaking me, rage that's making me into someone I don't know, into someone I don't know. And then they go back into that slow part. Then they go back into that lyric, that riff. And that riff is basically the riff that rides under where he says, "I'll kill you tonight." And then he does that for a while, they do that for a while, and then they go into this slow interlude that I've heard them do this just by itself too, starting a song. I've heard them do this here by itself. And that's all Josh. And like I said, man, Josh, Peter Steele, I know that he wrote these songs, and I know he wrote the lyrics and everything, but him and Josh, they worked so closely together. They almost, and I know, and now you die. I know that some people might seem it's sacrilege, but I think that they are like, Lennon and McCartney of the gloom and doom. I don't even like calling them goth. People call them goth and everything. I think they're just a dark metal is what I like to call them. But they do ride under goth and everything, and I don't want to take that away from them and everything. But I don't like labeling bands anyway. I don't like labels. But I don't know. To me, they've always just been kind of like a dark metal, but they're not a death metal or satanic metal or anything like that. So, but now we're still inside of Kill You Tonight, And we're going into one of my favorite phrases in the whole album, in the whole song. The drums here, and oh, you're dead now. And then the woohoo here. It's just awesome. And then they got the oos, 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 oos that they do. And those are just awesome. I mean, that's typo right there. That just screams typo to me. And then the lyrics here. And then he says here, I called your house, but you couldn't be reached. Took the D train to Brighton Beach. You're doing the thing with a brand new man, checking on the stars and screwing on the sand. And, you know, then he says, kill you, punishment. You know, like I said, this is one of my favorite parts. This is one of my favorite parts on one of my favorite songs of this album. And this beer is really good, by the way. I don't know if I like it as much as the first one. I like this right here, too. Now on the actual, I can't remember if it was on a live version that I saw or if it was on the Origin of the Feces. Like I said, I've had a few beers, but they go oh during that part instead of going ooh. And I can't remember if I saw that on a live or if they actually do that on Origin of the Feces. I'll have to check that out and see. So he's going to come back to I'll Kill You Tonight. Back to that kick-ass that kick-ass riff. This is going to get harder the drunker I get. Tracks 3, 4, and 5 should be great. Yeah, and then he says, I'll kill you tonight, I'll fucking kill you, and then it goes into Love You to Death, which at the very end, it says it's just a musical intermission, a musical part, instrumental, and a lot of people say that, I've heard people say that that's a clock ticking, but honestly, to me, if you listen to that, that's some shit getting chopped up with an axe. I mean, he's already said, I've got a pickaxe, or that's a pickaxe. I have the visual of a pickaxe or an axe chopping something. And just the sick, twisted, super violent that this portrays and everything, that's just what it sounds like to me. It just sounds like that, they're dead. He's found them on the beach, and he's put a pickaxe in them, and he's doing the chopping, and that's just what it sounds like to me in my sick, twisted brain, in my visualizing the song. And I'm the kind of person, if a song's telling a story or something, I kind of visualize it in my head, kind of like when people read books, they visualize things in their head, and so that's my 2 cents. It is a super violent song. But there's a lot of pun. Typo Negative, even in their violence, it was a kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of violence kind of thing. They never, I fully am convinced that Peter Steele was the kind of guy, if he was going to kill somebody, he would have done it. So, but I think his writing was his therapy, and we all have our things that we do for therapy to deal with things that we encounter and stuff like that. So I think writing and his music was his therapy, and if you listen to his music throughout, especially when you get to Bloody Kisses and when you get to October Rust, my heart just goes out to this guy because, God, he had so much pain in his life and everything that he dealt with in his music and everything. I think that's one of the things that's that I've always kind of idealized and I think any typo negative fan, one of the things that makes them so close to them is the fact that they really idealize with a lot of the things that typo negative embodied in their work and everything. So I'm going to finish my beer here. But that is track 3, I think, track 3. That's track 3, Xero Tolerance, off the Slow, Deep, and Hard album. And so there it is. There's what I think about it. And so I'm Brant. This is In My Head channel. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment below. Click the like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you get when these new videos come out. And if you want to see more, click on my face here. You can subscribe that way right there just by clicking on that and make it easy for you. And you can click right here if you want to see more videos. It's probably suggesting something that may be KISS related or one of my other videos. But that's all I've got. So basically, I'm Brant. This is In My Head channel. This has been a typo negative review. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.